Well, Mike, the first question I want to ask you is, what's the advantage of going to an independent optician versus going to one of these chain stores that you see advertised all over?
Okay. Well, the main difference or benefit would be that they will have a professionally fitted pair of eyeglasses if they come here. And what I mean by that is that I am trained to not only measure properly for bifocals and trifocals and that sort of thing, but also I'm trained to actually physically fit a frame for comfort. Oftentimes when somebody goes to a chain setting, they may or may not have somebody who knows how to do those things. And so I think the main advantage of coming here is that you'll get a little bit higher level of skill in the actual fitting process.
When you first get a prescription for glasses or contacts, how should you go about choosing a place to get them?
Unfortunately, most people will choose a place based on price advertising. I would say that probably the larger percentage of people who are shopping for glasses, if you want to call it shopping, do it in that regard. That is, they will tend to go to places where they think they're going to save money. In the case of eyeglasses, eyeglasses are actually a medical appliance. And so, pardon me, from my viewpoint, it should be thought about as a medical device rather than a commercial, over-the-counter commodity. But unfortunately, the chains have trained the average consumer to believe that they can get the same type of product and service and fitting at their location as you can get from a independent optician. And so bringing them here requires a little bit more education of the customer, the consumer. We have to let them know that they can have a custom pair of glasses made here, that we do custom work, that we do custom fittings, and we ensure that they get a comfortable fitting pair of glasses.
So, Mike, what are your skills and expertise?
I started in this business over 40 years ago, and I learned the trade under a master guild optician. Back in those days, they didn't have too many schools for opticianry, so we typically learned from people who had experience in the field. So my training was, what was involved in my training was what we call shop work, which means that we learned from the shop end of the business to do little things like putting screws in glasses and mounting lenses into frames and that sort of thing, the shop work part of it, or the fabrication part. And then after I learned that process, I went on to learn how to fit and measure multifocal lenses and take pupillary distance measurements all the way down to custom fitting of an actual physical fitting of a frame. So that process typically at that time took a couple of years. It was not something that was taken lightly because an optician was a trade. It's a specialized trade that required a great deal of knowledge. So I've had over 40 years of experience in fitting of eyeglasses, as well as management of stores. I've owned 4 other stores besides this one, and so I've had a lot of on-the-job experience, I guess you might say.
And when the customer first comes into the frame shop for the first time, what can they expect?
They can expect to be greeted with a knowledgeable person who can interpret what their prescription needs are from the written out prescription the doctor gives them. And most of the people that come here will find that we're not salespeople, we're not pushy salespeople. We simply want to meet their needs, and their needs can be met by determining what their lens need is and fitting of a frame correctly. Many frames, a lot of people think that all frames fit all people, but they really don't. There's differences in how they fit on the bridge. There's differences in temple length and that sort of thing. So all of those things are taken into consideration when somebody walks in here to get a pair of glasses made.
So is there anything else you'd like to say, Mike, to the people that are watching this?
Well, just that I think the big thing is to try the frame shop. I think you'll readily see the difference between what we do here and what's being done in the so-called corporate world of chain buying.